Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. Today we're looking at first issue special number 8. This one features the first appearance of Travis Morgan as we enter the lost world of the Warlord. Now, Warlord is an interesting character. It's a new take on barbarians. Instead of just your usual fantasy stuff that was going on in comics in the 70s like Conan and Kull, they decided to take a regular human and drop him into a fantasy setting. So he left the modern world in 1969 while on a recon mission flying a Blackbird to take photos of the Russians. The Russians spotted him, launched some missiles, his ship gets hit and goes down. He's losing fuel, so he's got to land somewhere. So he's thinking he can make it to Alaska by flying over the North Pole. So while he's flying, he spots some clear land among the clouds. So he's like, oh, I should land here. Well, he ends up having to bail out in what he thinks is the Yukon territory, but it's not. So he bails out, lands in what is obviously a jungle, and he's a little confused by this because it's really hot out. He thought it was 6 p.m., but it's always daytime. So he's walking around. He has a survival vest with a few things, knife, compass, 38 special, and 12 rounds of ammo. So as he walks around, he comes across a woman in trouble, and this is Tara, or Tara, more likely. And he sees her being attacked by a carnivorous saurian of Earth's Jurassic age. I don't know how to pronounce that word. It's a dinosaur. So he jumps into action and tries to kill it. He gets his butt handed to him. He's shot it 6 times with his 38 revolver, but that didn't kill it. And he goes into melee with it, and it's tearing him up. And she comes in and actually saves him by driving her sword through it. But when he tries to talk to her and thank her, she can't understand him. So her language is different and somehow strangely familiar. But he doesn't know what it is. So she goes to lead the way out, but they get ambushed by some soldiers. And he quickly reloads his firearm, kills a few of them. And the leader rallies his troops for another go. He kills the leader. The final group, he knows he has 1 bullet left. And the group rallies, but they decide that it's just not worth it. So Travis surrenders with his lady friend, who is not happy about it. And they get taken to a large city where they see the king and this sketchy-looking visor of sorts, some sort of high priest named Demos, who is very, very evil. And he has this black orb which he wants to test Morgan with. So he holds it up and Morgan gets this beam shot to his head and it's going to make him black out. So he pulls his pistol out, takes a shot, blows up the orb. And they think he's some kind of god then. So they give him the special treatment, get him this really tight-fitting, ugly outfit and some swashbuckler boots. And he gets treated really well. And when he takes a nap, somehow time gets away from him, I guess, and he grows a beard for whatever reason. And he trims it up a little bit so it looks a little bit more swashbucklery. And the woman, Tara, teaches him a little bit of the language, because time means nothing here. So, since he was an Air Force pilot in the Cold War, he did learn Russian. So he has no problem picking up the language. He apparently has no problem with languages. So he learns that the land is Skartaris. That's the country they're in. The actual world name is Tartarus or Tartarus. He learns that she is from Shambhala. That's her homeland, and her party of hunters was ambushed. They're more of a barbarian tribe. They were ambushed by the people of this village or city, and Morgan spouts off his theory that he is in the Hollow Earth. I think they later retcon that, so it's just like an alternate dimension. But he thinks he's in the Hollow Earth, which is a popular theory that's been around for a while. You can look that up. So she says he's crazy because he claims he flew in on a plane. Well, one of the servants overheard this and decides to report his lack of godhood to Demos, who quickly thanks the lady and turns her into a snake because he's just a scumbag. And he sends some soldiers to murder Travis. Well, that doesn't work out. Travis and Tara quickly dispatch the thugs and escape out into the woods, headed for her homeland. And that's where the issue ends. Now, Warlord did become a regular series. So since today's Wednesday, we're going to have Warlord Wednesdays. I believe, the entire collection of the Warlord series. Volume 1 has 133 issues. Volume 2 was I think a 6-part miniseries, and then there were 2 shorter series that came after that. I think one was 12 issues, and the other one was right around there as well. But I think I have all of them, so we'll just make Wednesdays Warlord Wednesdays. So if you want to learn more about Travis Morgan's adventures, I'll be reviewing those. But I thought this issue was great. It was a lot of fun. The pacing was amazing. The art was great. It's Mike Grell writing and drawing it. I think Joe Orlando was the editor. I got it right here. Let me look. And overall, it was a real tight story. Yeah, edited by Joe Orlando. Very fast-paced. A little bit of the dialogue is slightly dated because, you know, some of the terminology is different from the 70s to now. Because this was from 1975. But overall, this was just a fantastic adventure story. I think that Warlord was definitely one of the better fantasy books out there. You know, a guy from the 60s, late 60s, early 70s, being trapped in this primitive world with magic and swords, and he has to fight to become, you know, to survive, basically, with all these cool people that he meets, as spellcasters, barbarians, shapeshifters, etc. And I think this issue really set it up really well. It's really well written. The art's great. It's got a lot of adventure and action. Doesn't take time to goof off into tangential things. It's all story related and plot driven. And I really like that, especially because it's a pretty complete story. So the fact that it leads into the regular series is a big bonus. So we'll take a look at that in another episode. We'll look at issue 1. But I really like this as a great introduction to the character. It's a more interesting character than most of the other ones that we've seen so far. Like, this is leaps and bounds better than Dingbats on Danger Street. And even Atlas was kind of dumb comparatively. This was way more fun. And if you like fantasy stuff, this is definitely for you. But that's going to do it for this one. I really like the cover art that actually appears in the story. You know, he's fighting the dinosaur on the cover. And we get a shot of Tara. I'm going to probably alternate back and forth on the pronunciation because I'm not 100% sure on that one. But we get her jumping at it with the sword. It was a fun book. This one is probably the most expensive of the entire run of first issue special because it's the first appearance of the Warlord. But it's well worth it. It was a lot of fun. But that'll do it for this one. Thanks as always for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.